Do you want to rock, paper, scissors, see who starts? Is it best 2 of 3 or just one wins?
Did you just say the darts?
Kill yourself, first of all. Best
All
2
right.
out of 3 for rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, let's see who the darts this.
1,
1,
2, 3.
3, shoot.
Okay, so that's you for 1. Wait, who?
The loser goes. The loser starts.
Okay, so I'm winning even though you just won. Great.
The loser, whoever loses who has to start. Because for me, starting is more of a social anxiety thing. So I would rather not start.
So if you win, I start.
Yes.
And if I win, you start. So right
Yes.
now. Okay. Yeah. Ready?
All right, round 2.
Rock,
Rock,
paper,
paper,
scissors, shoot.
You start!
That's me. That's me. Fuck, what the hell do I say?
I guess, hello, welcome. This is the pilot.
Is that our intro or is that what you want me to say?
I guess I started it then. Screw rock, paper, scissors, I guess. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rated MA. I am Allie. This is Megan, and we are here to watch Andor from Star Wars on Disney+.
Are we watching Star Wars today? Can't tell.
I couldn't tell either. I've got some X-Wing stuff. I've got my R2-D2 mug. I've got my original movie posters. I honestly couldn't tell you what we're watching today.
No, I really couldn't. But I guess we're watching Andor.
Just so everyone is aware, Megan and I both have seen Andor before, but we are going through our first rewatch since as of today, the day that we are recording this, not the day that you're seeing this, but as of the day that we are recording, Andor Season 2 will be premiering in 1 month, I think from
so.
now,
I think
about
it's
a
1
month.
month.
So Megan and I are going to try and knock out our Season 1 rewatch so we can get caught up with Season 2 and start recording that and putting that out. So while we have seen this one before, it's been a while. I've only seen the show once or twice, I think, and it's been a few years. So I'm super excited to get back into it and to revisit all of the characters, all of the worlds. I know Meg is as well.
Whenever I first watched it, I've only seen Andor once. And there were a
Okay.
few episodes where I did knock out for like 15 minutes of it for like a small nap. So I was really tired.
So this is first time watching for Megan.
I would say like an episode or 2, not like every episode, but I was very sleepy. I mean, what else is new? So
Well, I remember most of the show, I would like to think. I remember a lot of the main plot points. I remember a lot of the locations. We are mainly watching this as people who are obviously fans of Star Wars. Fun fact, Megan worked at Galaxy's Edge in Disney, and both of us are former Disney employees,
and that is where we got these shirts.
Yes, I have one of those as well. I'm wearing my Luke X-Wing Rebel pilot shirt, but
it would have been really lame of us to wear the same shirt today. So
I also would have blended into my wall a bit, I think. So today we are watching Andor Season 1, Episode 1. The episode is called Kassa. We're going to get right into it. Right, Meg?
Yeah, let's start this.
I'll kill you with a gun.
Wow, not even a blaster? Stay in theme, Allie.
I'm going to pistol whip you. Also, just so everyone's aware, Megan and I will be taking notes throughout this so that we can talk about the episode at the end of the watch through.
And just so everyone else knows that I'm very thankful for Allie saying that because I forgot to grab my notebook. So I am all set now.
I did not, because I'm a good student. This is 5 BBY, I think, if I remember correctly.
Something like that.
It's either 5 or... well, it might be further back.
I love the lighting in this scene. I just gotta say that right now. I love it.
It's so good.
And it's so the reflection, like all of that stuff. Ugh.
I always appreciate a show that can do night shots, but still show me the actor's face. Megan and I will get into it probably by the end about how horrible lighting has gotten over the years in film and TV. I will say, I don't remember ever having a complaint about the light in this show. It is so spectacular.
No weapons, no comms. Upstairs lounge is closed tonight.
I have this song on my phone. I fucking love this song.
Why am I not surprised?
It's good. It's got a good bounce to it.
Alone tonight.
Just me.
Have you been with us before?
First time.
Oh, you picked a great night. It's so lovely and quiet this evening.
Excuse me.
We were at first.
We've been waiting. He just got here.
Garni will help you. They're just sentry guards. They like to play at being cops. It's annoying.
I also love like the mixture between like the warm tones and the cool tones of this a lot.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting because normally when you're putting together a shot, you wouldn't blend the two. You would pick one or the other. But it works here because it's
It
like it's
works.
mainly doing yellow and blue, which are not opposites on the color wheel. It is orange and blue, yellow and purple. But the yellow and blue here, it's really interesting actually. I didn't notice it until you said that, but now that I see it, I can't unsee it.
You know that, right? Employees are required to present their IDs upon request.
I do love that these two men, instead of getting the service that they probably paid for and were waiting for, spent their time chasing him down for no reason other than that he got service first.
I love the shadows in this.
I do too. I love the grates above his head, giving that.
Yeah. It gives such a
slatted
nice
effect.
texture. Yeah.
Get up. Get him up. Get him up. You didn't mean it. He fell. We're going together. I'll tell him what happened.
Damn.
I love this shot so much.
I do too.
You know what, though? That entire sequence that we just watched, this intro, only used yellow, orange, and blue light.
Yeah,
The
they did.
entire
It was
time.
like very simple, but also very
Yeah.
well executed. And they didn't need that much. I mean, it was so low lit. I mean, I
Yeah.
love how the use of textures and everything just kind of really upped it.
Man, I'm trying to remember what this droid's name
I
is.
love
I
the
can't remember.
droids.
I do too. I can't remember what this droid's name is, though, but I love him.
Kassa. Kassa.
And you can see like this is like greens, earth tones, like all that. And
Yeah.
it has like a completely different vibe than like the environment he's in now.
It feels like there's life here. Like, in a good way. It feels like there's life.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was probably a way better time in his life as well.
Yeah. So this is Canary. Canary? This is his home planet, I believe.
What did you tell him?
I'm curious if they shot this at a canted angle or if the actual like set they made it on an angle.
Well, it looked like the ship was at an angle. So
Yeah.
I wonder if it's, I mean, it could be a practical set. They've had practical sets like for the Mandalorian and stuff as well.
Yeah.
For the Razor Crest. So I have to assume that this is a practical set. And I think it's
accurate.
probably at a Dutch for a reason.
Yeah,
I love it though.
I do too. It's either they're trying to make it to where it shows that maybe the planet's like layout and how the ground is and everything, or he's just at an unstable part of his life.
I mean, I think it's more about the instability, given
Yeah.
that if I remember correctly, this might be me speaking before this has been revealed. I believe that was supposed to be the first man Cassian ever killed. So that is the instability.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that's revealed later. I'm not sure why I have that information in my head per se. I do believe, though, at some point it's revealed that the man that he killed on Morlana 1 is the first man that he's ever killed.
And that's why
I
he hesitated
think.
a little bit.
That's why he hesitated and then immediately killed someone else. But also, that could totally make sense why the next time we see him, he's unstable.
Yeah.
I will say, of all of the Star Wars projects, I think Andor has my favorite music. I love the music from Andor so much.
It is really great music. It makes me feel like I'm back in Galaxy's Edge, to be honest.
It does kind of have that land music feel. Love
It
the shot.
does.
That's a great shot.
That is a great shot.
See, this planet has a lot of orange and yellows also.
Yeah. Definitely a lot more warm.
Yes.
Hey, you don't look so good. Fine. Came by for you last night.
I will say, I think their framing, like on the opposite, like looking at Cassian, is really interesting with how the over the shoulder is.
Mm-hmm. Like this shot you're saying?
Yeah.
It kind of makes him feel small.
Yeah. Definitely
But I
does.
mean, this character that he's speaking to, Brasso, is bigger than him, but also Cassian's asking for a favor. He's groveling at someone's feet and saying, "Please do this for me," you know? So even though he is smaller in stature compared to Brasso, it also makes it look maybe more like he's groveling. Not that
Mhm.
he's weak, but maybe that he needs help. I don't know. It is an interesting shot. Oh my god, Cyril, this fucking guy. I forgot about him.
All the available information before your departure.
You've been very busy. I want you to conjure a suitable accident.
But they were murdered.
No, they were killed in a fight. They died being helpful. Something sad but inspiring in a mundane sort of way.
Sad but inspiring. That was a great scene.
It was.
That was so well written.
What have you done?
Your friend will want this piece. He'll come for this. You said he wanted to meet me.
So what is it?
I got an untraceable NS9 Starpath unit. Vector crystals and Imperial seal still intact. You want to call your guy or not?
Do you know how much that's worth?
Yeah. Enough to get out of here. Lay low till things cool off.
Just as a side note, I think she is absolutely stunning. She's
Oh,
so
yeah.
pretty.
No, she is. She's so pretty.
I really need this.
She's so pretty. I saw her for the first time in Good Omens. She was in that show. And I was like, the instant I saw her, I was like, oh my god, she's one of the prettiest women I've ever seen. She's gorgeous.
She is gorgeous. I love the way like she has her hair too, and like the Dutch braids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another flashback.
Mm-hmm. Back to Canary. Now, I remember why, so I will not say further, but I did notice the first time I watched this, there are all children. There are no
Yeah.
adults here. It's all kids. I do also want to mention one of my favorite things about all of the stuff here on Canary. They don't ever give you subtitles for what is being talked about, which is such an interesting choice to not tell your audience what they're hearing because it is a made up language. I don't believe this is I mean, it might be based in a real language, but I don't think it is supposed to be understood. But as a watcher, you are just supposed to know this is what these children are doing. You don't really need to know what they say because they are conveying it to you through actions and through movements in the screen of what is being done. Of like, obviously, we know they're preparing for a battle or a war or something. But I always have found it so interesting that there's no subtitles here. I thought that was such a
Yeah.
cool choice.
No, I think it's a really cool choice too because it's kind of like, well, yeah, you're not supposed to know. And it's so dark in like the Star Wars universe. I feel so bad for their corneas.
Just like constantly being blasted by like the darkness of outer space and then like the neon lights of every planet.
Yes, exactly.
Just like I know their pupils just dilate like a fucking pulse.
You need work this bad.
Leave him out of it.
He said all I needed to do was stand here.
Good. You keep at it.
You think I'm messing around?
I hope so. I'm gonna do us a favor and not mention this happened.
I
Very nice to see
am
you.
a little in love with him. And by
He
a little, I
has-
mean a lot.
He has such an audacity to him.
He does. He's very charismatic and he's an asshole. And
Yes.
I love him for it.
Love a charismatic asshole.
Totally normal thing to do to your significant other.
Oh yeah.
Stalk them through the market.
Why not, you know? Not gonna lie, I would have so much fun playing in those things.
I know. I know.
So like, they're
Did
just
you,
like,
were you ever one of those kids that had like the fantasy of playing in a junkyard when you were a kid? Because I
Yes.
did.
I did. I did. So many cool trinkets and like gadgets and really just like a scene from High School Musical 3. The boys,
Yeah.
the boys are back.
Boys are
They're
back.
back.
Okay, so we've got secret communications in a hollowed out like silo type thing here on this is the planet Ferrix, which I don't know if we've been told that, but I know it because I remember this from the show.
Wow, I'll be his name in the time scan.
Ferrix.
Yes, sir.
We've been working on it.
Canary human males on Ferrex.
I love that they're like
Set up a desk
negging
here to
him.
monitor anything
Yeah.
that comes in.
He's like, why can't we just we just
Let's
cancer. It's just
go.
not how shit goes. Why are they gaslighting him? This is why he's got issues.
Real.
That was the end of that episode?
I know. I was thinking the same
Jeez.
thing. There's no way, but I guess so.
Wow.
That went by so fast.
Guys, hold please. Today is March 30th, 2025. Alex Ovechkin just scored, which means he is 1 goal closer to passing Wayne Gretzky. That's very important to me because I'm a lifelong Caps fan.
Shut up.
No, if you guys will check my Alex Ovechkin alert, I'll keep you guys updated. So Megan, did you take any notes on this episode?
A little bit.
Okay, I took notes for us.
Wow. You know what? Yours are so much better.
First of all, I'm also handwriting my notes. So there's that.
Listen, my notebook's all the way over there. I did not want to get up.
So Meg and I are going to break down the episode a little bit, have a quick discussion about it. I have a bachelor's degree in audio and video production. I have a master's degree in screenwriting. I am currently a podcast editor, video editor, and audio engineer for a few podcasts.
I have a bachelor's of arts in film production with emphasis in cinematography. And then I also currently work at a post-production house.
We're kind of going to approach things from a bit more of a technical standpoint in terms of how things are done, how things are shot, how things are looking. I'm probably going to talk a lot about writing and the tone of the show and things like that, because those are things that I tend to pick up on more. So while we get into this, we might have a slightly different way of reviewing, critiquing, or analyzing an episode of a show. So just be aware of that. So first things first, Meg, for someone rewatching for the first time in a bit, what did you think?
I thought it was really good. I definitely noticed things that I didn't the first time, like a little bit more details, everything. Because usually the first time, I will say when you're watching something, you're watching more just, trying to understand how the world is and all those things. But when you watch again, you pick up on the little more smaller details. Like I thought the lighting in the introduction was absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting throughout was actually really great. I was a huge fan of it, and I really like how when he was in the that bar area that, like we talked about that, it was cool, and then like the little areas where like the people would be together and like the little singular seats were more warm because, those people might be, living their normal lives is a little bit more warm, a little bit more lively. And then you have the coolness in the tone because what he's going through right now is a little bit more fits that vibe, and I feel like the cool tones definitely do fit him more right now, but also going back to in the previous, like, the flashbacks and everything, that it definitely shows more of, like, those warm tones in his life.
I love this show. I have always loved this show. I will always love this show. I think it is fascinating in its tone. I really, really like the tone of Andor, especially compared to other Star Wars shows, which have like a bit more of like a fun energy to them. Not that that is bad in any way, shape, or form. I think there is a place for it in all different types of production. There is always a time and a place for fun, but this show is so much more serious and so much more somber than anything else. I really enjoyed this episode. I think the first time I watched this, and I had almost the exact same reaction I had this time, was the ending of
Yeah.
like I wasn't expecting it to be over. So the runtime for this episode was about 35 minutes, but I feel like they packed in a lot of information.
Do you think it was too much information for a, like, pilot episode? Do you think that because pilots usually do have, like, quite a bit of
A
information
lot.
in it. A lot.
Well, we got to set up the world, so
Exactly. So from a writer's standpoint, do you see it as an appropriate amount? Do you think it was a little too much or a little, like, less? They could have had a little more?
if you break it down in terms of like not necessarily like scene sections, but groups of scenes, right? You have your intro and your opener that leads into what is called the inciting incident. The inciting incident in a script or in a story is the moment in which the story kickstarts. It is the moment in which the character is challenged by something that is new or unusual and then has to either move forward from that point or figure out how their worldview is shifting. For Cassian, it's killing that guard, right? So he kills the guard. And like I said during the reaction, I think that is meant to be the first time he's ever killed someone. This is the moment that he becomes not just kind of a crook and a criminal, he becomes a killer, right?
Yeah.
So that's his inciting incident. Then we go into what is the beginning of like the act 2 phase of this, where you meet the other players. So you meet Brasso, you meet Bix, you learn about Ferrix, which is the planet that he is either living on or has been living on for a while. You learn about Canary, which is the planet that he is supposedly from. And then you also meet what are going to be the antagonist in the story, which is Cyril. And Cyril is on Morlana 1. I made a note that he was working at the corporate security headquarters. He is a deputy inspector. We only saw 3 planets. We saw Morlana 1, we saw Ferrix, and we saw Canary. Those are the 3 places that we saw. Morlana 1 is where our bads live. Ferrix is where our goods live, and Canary is part of Cassian's backstory. Another big thing that was revealed is at the midpoint of the story, which the midpoint is the intersection between Act 1 and Act 3, the middle of the story. You find out that Cassian has stolen or come into the possession of an untraceable star path unit, which he is attempting to sell to someone that Bix knows. I think in terms of information, it's a very appropriate amount, and I think it's more than enough to set up not only a whole season, but to also get an audience understanding of this is where we're going, here's where we begin.
Yeah.
I think it's very well balanced, to be completely honest with you.
That's really good, honestly. I always like hearing from like a screenwriter's perspective on how much, because sometimes they give too much and they give too little, or it's just like yeah, the way. But or it could be perfect, which this one seems like with your expertise and knowledge and everything that this is perfect, like a really perfect amount.
Yeah, the problem with a script, a pilot script, is there's the need to set up the world, right? The thing with a Star Wars TV show is that the world is already established because we are still within the era of the Skywalker saga. So 5 BBY, talking about the Battle of Yavin from A New Hope, which is when they blew up the first Death Star, this is 5 years before that.
Do you think if he knew he only had 5 years left, he would have done anything differently? Because I mean, think about it. If you're like, hey, you're gonna die in 5 years, I know I would do probably so many things differently.
Right. It would change the way that you behave, I think, the foreknowledge, right? Of like, you're gonna die for this. The thing is that by the time you get to Rogue One, which is the end of Rogue One happens days before the Battle of Yavin. By the time Cassian got to that point, when he died, he was willing to die for the cause.
Mhm.
He was fully willing. And I don't think it was just that he was fully willing. I think he knew he would die for the cause. I fully believe that Cassian knew that fighting in the rebellion would kill him. But that Cassian and the Cassian in this pilot are very different.
Yes.
I think Cassian in the pilot is more selfish in that, I mean, there are many comments to it from his friends, from Bix and Brasso, about like, I mean, Brasso's like, hey, I stopped by your house to see how you were. Are you okay? And he immediately is like, yeah, you need to lie for me. Say you were with me last night.
Yeah. It's just like, huh?
Season 2, from what I understand, is supposed to be more about how Cassian becomes the Cassian that we know. But
Mhm.
I think if you told Cassian in episode 1 of Andor that he had 5 years to live before he was going to lose pretty much everything, I don't know that he would have joined the rebellion.
I don't think he would have.
I have a question for you now.
Yeah.
So, when Cassian kills the 2 guards on Morlana 1,
Mhm.
he throws one of the guards and it's an accident. The other guard tells him he fell. It was an accident. Basically offers him an alibi of like, if you let me live, I'll say that this wasn't you. I'll say that he fell, he got drunk, blah, blah, blah. Do you think he was telling the truth? If Cassian had let that guy live, do you think he would have upheld his deal, or do you think he would have immediately hunted him down?
See, that's hard because I think if he knew how dangerous, like, dangerous, if you know that someone's dangerous, of
Right.
course you're not going to try to go after them and everything. But how much of a risk is Cassian necessarily now? Because he was like, well, it was an accident, like it
Mhm.
was this, it was that. If he like full on with the other guard, just full on like point blank shot him in the head, like I could see him being like, I won't tell. But also, I think it depends on how the guards' relationships were. Because
Mhm.
let's just say if you love that person, you're very close, you're gonna want to get like vengeance for them. You're gonna want to get
Right.
something like that. So I think it has a lot of factors that really depend. So if they were close, I don't think he would maybe keep the promise. I think it really depends on him and that other guard's relationship. I think that's what it fully depends on. If they were just acquaintances, I think he would have kept his mouth shut.
It's interesting. I tend to disagree in and only in that I feel like there was a moment where Cassie, like we talked about it when we were watching it, right? Like Cassian hesitates.
He does,
For
yeah.
the briefest of moments, he hears this guy out and whether or not he actually ponders the guy's option of, I swear to God, I won't say anything. You can just walk away. You don't need to kill me, blah, blah, blah. There is a moment where he hears him, even if he's not considering it. I don't actually know if he's considering or not. I like to choose to think that he was.
I think so. I think he was considering or just hesitating, be like, I don't want to do this, but I have to.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it takes a conscious effort to pull the trigger, right?
mhm.
But I think there is a moment in which Cassian sees himself in the guard and he knows, I wouldn't let this guy go. And he was basically like, I can't let this guy kill me. I have to kill this guy, but also if I was in his position, he's going to kill me. There's no
Yeah.
way. And
It's either I
there's
die or
that
he
choice.
dies.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah. So do you think though that the guard was telling the truth?
No. I think he was lying. I think he was trying to save his ass. I think 100% is what that was. But I mean, there's something to be said that I think it's satisfactory either way. I think it's satisfying if he's lying and Cassian makes the right call of, I'm sorry, I have to survive, so I have to kill you. I think it's also satisfactory if the guy was telling the truth and Cassian just became a cold-hearted killer and killed him.
Yeah.
I
Because I
think both
mean,
of those are equally satisfying to me as
I
a viewer.
I think it helps lead Cassian maybe down the path that he's going.
I think it's really interesting. And one thing that we didn't talk about, but I made a note of, was that Cassian was in Morlana 1 because he was looking for his sister. We saw his sister at the end. They had a quick conversation. Cassian left with some of the other older children. They had a conversation that we do not know a translation for. In my head, I've always seen that scene as like a "where are you going?" and an "I'll be back soon" was
Yeah.
the question and answer, something along those lines of "wait for me, I'll be home soon." And we as the audience know Cassian and his sister currently in 5 BBY are not in conversation, and Cassian does not know where she is and is looking for her.
I found out the name of the droid.
What is it?
I love it. B2 EMO. So B2
B2
emo.
emo. B2
B2
emo.
emo.
Yes. I said BB at one point. I was like, that's not right, but I knew it started with a B.
It's a B. Yeah.
B2 emo. Yes.
My notes were basically all like cinematography wise, which is so bad. I really need to take different notes. But we wanted to talk about how lighting has become so dark and dull in so many new shows and films.
Oh my god, the
So
lighting in shows is so
it's just
bad
too
nowadays.
dark. It's
It's
too.
too dark and it's too flat. What happened to dynamic lighting?
I could not agree with you more. Like seriously, like I'll see things like nowadays, and I'm like, really that? I don't know. It's just I don't know what's this whole dark and flat and like I just want to know.
I just want to talk to the lighting directors. What is happening?
I feel like a lot of this, and hear me out, comes from like all like the dark and everything like that. I mean, it's been a long time since this film came out, but I feel like a lot of things have maybe gotten more dark and moody since, and that's The Dark Knight.
Can I offer a counterpoint?
Yes.
I think it's Game of Thrones did it.
You know what?
And by the
Yeah.
way, just before you all ask, Meg and I are going to watch Game of Thrones. I have a Game of Thrones tattoo, so we're going to get into it. It's going to be fine. There is an episode called The Long Night. It's episode 3 of season 8 of Game of Thrones, which famously, season 8 of Game of Thrones is dog shit. It is so dark, it is comical. I remember watching it live when it was airing with a friend of mine from college. We sat in the dark and we couldn't see anything. And I remember we were watching the behind the scenes commentary that HBO used to do at the end, and the fucking lighting director made a comment about how people had complained about lighting in the past on Game of Thrones. And his response was basically akin to like, I'm sorry that you guys are too broke to have a TV that has high enough quality to watch what I'm making. And me and my friend who were watching it were like, did he just call us poor? When we were watching it,
Who was the lighting director? I have to know this.
Well, the episode was The Long Night. So let's see if I go to IMDb. It is quite literally, it is one of the darkest episodes of TV I've ever seen in my life. Miguel Sapochnik was the director.
Are you also on IMDb?
Always. Producers, composers, cinematographer Fabian Wagner.
That would have been it, Fabian Wagner. Because for TV shows, they don't necessarily have like, I think it's more like cinematographers at that point, because sometimes they'll switch different cinematographers for different seasons and different episodes. So sometimes they'll even have multiple.
I think it was Fabian Wagner because that name sounds familiar.
Oh, he's probably going for like German expressionism because he's a German cinematographer.
Well, I don't know what he was going for because I couldn't see it. So my counterpoint to you is that I think shit has been getting steadily and steadily darker. Game of Thrones was at one point in time the most popular TV show in the entire world. I think a lot of people were looking at Game of Thrones, which is why when Game of Thrones started getting really dark, that to me is what I remember being like, wow, this show is really dark. And since that has come out, it's like fucking everything.
No, honestly, like we can cut out the part I said about the Dark Knight because I fucked up my movies.
Were you not talking about The Dark Knight?
No. So we're going to cut that.
Okay, well, are we ready to wrap up this episode then?
I think so. I think that we're pretty good.
Well, how about you do the outro because I did most.
Technically, I threw us into the intro.
Well, that being said, we're going to conclude here with our analysis and discussion of Kassa, Season 1, Episode 1 of Andor. As always, I am Allie. This is Meg. We are Rated MA, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you next time.
Bye.